सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं परमानन्दमाधवम्। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्त गोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। So we are into the topic of karma nasha for a jivan mukta. For a person who has realized his supreme self, how there is no karma for him. Here we are referring to karma as karma phala. We saw there are three types of karma: sanchita karma, prārabdha karma and agami karma. Sanchita karma, the entire collection of all our past actions together. Prārabdha, a subset of sanchita karma which is ready to fructify and which has already started giving its result since our birth. Prārabdha. And agami, the karma which will come in future. So Shankaracharya here beautifully gave three examples to explain what happens to karma of a jivan mukta. Right? We saw for sanchita sanchita karma, he said that the sanchita karma dissolves at the very moment of realization. Like what? Like all the actions of the dreamer and their results dissolve the moment he wakes up. So he cannot be punished for the actions that he has performed in the dream, nor can he be praised for the actions that he has performed in the dream. Punya karma or papa karma, good actions or bad actions. Whatever has happened in the dream do not apply to the waker. This point is clear? What happens to agami karma? Agami karma means what? For jivan mukta, agami karma is after the moment of realization, whatever actions are being performed by the jivan muktas, body, mind, intellect. You can't even say that jivan mukta is performing actions, because we saw he is non-doer. He doesn't do anything. Even for the seeker, that kind of feeling of I am the non-doer has come. Now imagine for a realized person, of course it is there. So it is not that the jivan mukta is performing any action purposely, but as long as body, mind, intellect will be there, actions will be performed. Now when these actions are being performed by the body, mind, intellect of the jivan mukta remains untouched. See, just as we look at somebody's action, sometimes, in our houses, from the window, etc., we see that on the road, some workers are working continuously. Okay? And sometimes it is very funny. In India, though, it is known that whatever happens, people gather to watch. Isn't it? Even if some road is being, dug, so you are watching how the road digging is happening, how they are doing this, and how you observe. Sometimes because of the overpressure, the electricity cuts off. Then they wait. Sometimes it starts to rain. Then what? They all go and, wait at, under some shed. Then after that shower is passed, then again they come and then. How do you just observe all the actions of somebody else? Like that, the Jivan Mukta observes the actions that are being performed by body, mind, intellect. You imagine the kind of freedom that the Jivan Mukta must be feeling. It is something unimaginable actually. We can't say you imagine because we can't even imagine. Just as we are looking at somebody else performing action, the Jivan Mukta looks at his own body, mind, intellect performing action. Untouched. Example given was, just as the pot space, the space inside the pot is not touched by the smell of the liquor that the pot has. I don't know how Shankaracharya comes up with such examples, I tell you. Just using this pot and lamp, he has created so many examples. Now here another example is there. There is a pot, inside the pot liquor is kept. But inside the pot space also is there. Now that space, though remaining inside the pot, as though remaining inside the pot is not touched by the smell of liquor. In the same way, this Jivan Mukta, as though remaining inside the upadhi, remaining inside this equipment of body, mind, intellect, remains untouched by the qualities of body, mind, intellect and by their activities, functions. Beautiful example. Beautiful example. Now what happens to prārabdha karma? Shankaracharya said, you see, prārabdha will not end just like that by knowledge. Why? Jnana udayat pura ārabdham. That which has begun before the dawn of knowledge. Karma, that karma, prārabdha karma, what we call, jnanat na nashyati. It is not destroyed by knowledge. Why? Because it is already in motion. Adatva swaphalam na nashyati. Because it is already in motion, it will not end unless it has given its result. Example that Shankaracharya gives is what? Laksham uddishya utsrishta bānavat. Beautiful example, another beautiful example. A hunter looks and thinks that there is a tiger. Next verse also you see, Vyagra buddhya vinirmuktaha bānaha paschātu gomatau na tiṣṭhati chinatyeva laksham vegena nirbharam. A hunter looks at the animal and thinks that it is a tiger and therefore releases an arrow. But the moment he releases, he realizes that, it is not a tiger, it is a cow. Now, cow is a very, very auspicious animal who should not be killed. But the moment that arrow is shot, it will not end, it will not stop just because now the hunter has got knowledge. See, arrow is shot. When will it stop? It will stop only after hitting the target. In the same way, prārabdha karma, since it has already started giving its result, it is already fructifying, it will not end by knowledge. It will end only after giving the complete result. Another example that we see in our life Because you see, hunter, etc., we have not even seen actual bow and arrow, actually speaking, isn't it? It looks little away from us, example. And because at the time of Shankaracharya, there was no electricity, fan, etc., therefore he has not given that example. Otherwise, I am sure Shankaracharya would have given this example. But on behalf of him, I am giving you this example that I have learned from my guru. What is it? Just as a fan, you see, ceiling fan, you see, is working, it's rotating. Now, when you switch off the fan, because of the motion that the fan already is in, just at the moment of switching off the fan will not stop. It will only stop after the inertia is over, after some time. So, for prārabdha to continue, who is responsible? Newton is responsible. Newton discovered first law of motion, no? That everything remains to be in the state of motion or inertia unless and until acted upon by an external unbalanced force. So, unless some external force is applied, that object, if it is in motion, it will remain in motion. If it is at one place, then it will remain to be at one place, unless some external force is applied. You know, whenever this fan example comes, see, I tell you, fan is very big help to me, especially when I am conducting these online classes. You know that in Zoom, no, many people, when they sit for class, they sit as though like a statue. They don't move. Now, I don't know whether the Zoom has got stuck or you have not. So, the only thing that helps me is the fan behind you, which is in motion. Because of that, I know, okay, everything is fine. Video is working. People are there. Listening or not, that is not there, but video is working. I always remember this fan, and then I remember this example of the point. What is the point? The point is, whatever has already started giving result will not end by knowledge unless it has given its result completely. Now, when somebody listens to this, they immediately think, yes, Vedji, we got what? That means Jnani has prārabdha karma. See, that is where the brilliance of Shankaracharya comes. This beautiful verse that we saw in the last session, prārabdham balavattaram khalu vidam bhogena tasya kshaya. He summarizes the entire concept here. What is he saying? See, khalu, indeed. Vidam, even for wise people, even for Jivan Muktas, prārabdham balavattaram. Prārabdha is extremely strong, powerful, agreed. And therefore, bhogena tasya kshayaha. It will end only by bhoga experience. Only when it gives us joy or sorrow, sukha dukkha, then only it will end. Only by giving result it will end. But samyajnana hutashanena vilayah prak sanchita agaminam. But sanchita karma and agami karma, they both get dissolved because of samyajnana hutashana. They are burnt in the fire of this samyajnana, this realization. So sanchita agami are gone. What do you mean sanchita agami are gone? Sanchita is dissolved, agami jnani is not affected by it. So it is also gone. Prārabdha, it said, bhogena tasya kshaya. It will end only by giving result. And it is strong, it is very powerful. We also saw in the last session, there are three kinds of prārabdhas. Isn't it? Manda prārabdha, madhyama prārabdha, tīvra prārabdha. Manda prārabdha means little bit of prārabdha is there, you put efforts, the prārabdha goes away. Sometimes, we also in our life, in our career, etc., we face some obstacles. But little bit of our, pressing effort and that prārabdha, the things will change. Madhyama prārabdha means prārabdha is little more stronger. So, you have to put little more efforts. But there is tīvra prārabdha. Whatever efforts you put, that prārabdha will not change. By efforts, you will get strength to face that prārabdha. That will happen. But the prārabdha will not change. That is why sometimes when something, unimaginable happens with somebody, We must remember it is the force of prārabdha. Otherwise, we unnecessarily become very worried, or we lose faith in somebody, such a great person he was, and how can he do such a mistake, and relax. Prārabdha is strong. If even for Jivan Mukta Prārabdha is strong, what to say about you and me? And remember, this Prārabdha is my own past actions. Oh, I can't blame anybody else also for that. Last time we saw an example, this watch, how forcefully I am throwing it up. That much time it will take to come back. Now, if I have thrown a big boulder up, huge boulder, then what? Then it will come and it will crush me. My own actions. But sometimes they become very, very strong. Having said this, having said that Sanchita and Agami gets destroyed, but Prārabdha is destroyed only by giving result, Shankaracharya says, brahmātmaikyam aveksha tanmayataya ye sarvada samsthitaha. But those people who are always reveling in this knowledge that I am Brahman, for such people, tesham tat tritayam nahi kvachidapi. For such people, all three karmas are not there. Don't be mistaken. You may say for, what do you say? Sanchita Agami is gone. Prārabdha will continue. Prārabdha will continue, give result, and the Jnani will go through it. You may say whatever you want to say. Fact of the matter is, from the standpoint of the Jnani, for the Jnani, these three karmas are not there at all. Tat tritayam nahi kvachidapi. Why do you say like this? Brahmaivate nirgunam. Because they are sakshat nirguna Brahma. Now what? You are going to put Prārabdha for Brahman or what? Now remember, this point will be further explained in the next 4 verses. Okay? But in this one verse, Shankaracharya in the first line has explained the vyavaharika level. On the Vyavaharika level, what is the fact? The fact is Sanchita Agami is destroyed, Prārabdha will continue. It will give its result and it will end. But from the standpoint of Paramarthika Satta, from the standpoint of the Jivan Mukta himself, he doesn't have any of the three karmas. Even Prārabdha is not there for him. How are you saying Prārabdha is not there? Explained further. Let us read. Verse number 455. upādhitādātmyavihīnakevala brahmātmanaivātmani tiṣṭhato muneḥ prārabdhasadbhāvakathā na yuktā svapnārthasaṃbandhakatheva jāgrataḥ upādhitādātmyavihīnakevala brahmātmanaivātmani tiṣṭhato muneḥ prārabdhasadbhāvakathā na yuktā svapnārthasaṃbandhakatheva jāgrataḥ. One word. First line. Can you see that? upādhitādātmyavihīnakevala brahmātmana. One word. eva tiṣṭhati eva tiṣṭhataḥ muneḥ. Muneḥ, for this Jivan Mukta, Shashti Ekvachan, for this Muni, for this Jivan Mukta, tiṣṭhataḥ, who is remaining as what? upādhitādātmyavihīna. Vihīna, without. Tādatmya, identification. Upādhi, conditioning. Without the identification with the conditionings of body, mind, intellect, kevala brahmātmana tiṣṭhataḥ. The one who remains just as Brahman. Brahma atmana eva tiṣṭhataḥ. One who remains as the self as Brahman. English becomes very funny. when such philosophical points are explained in Sanskrit. brahmātmanaivātmani tiṣṭhata. You see, one more Atman is also there. For the one who is staying in the self as Brahman. Literally, that is what it means. Means what? One who does not identify with body, mind, intellect as we are identifying, and who is always with this conviction, with this understanding, with this realization that I am Brahman. For such a person, prārabdhasadbhāvakathā na yuktā. He says, to say that prārabdha is sadbhava. Sadbhava means actually there, really. Katha, he says it's a story. It's a concept. This concept of prārabdha being real, na yukta, is not appropriate. It is not right. It is not right to say that the jivan mukta will have prārabdha. Why? Example. Svapnārthasaṃbandhakathā iva jāgrataḥ. It is like saying that for the waker, there is existence, real existence of dream objects. Careful. For sanchita karma, Shankaracharya had given this example that the karmas performed by the dreamer do not apply to the waker. Now here, example of dream is there, but little differently. What is he saying here? He is saying, just as the dream objects have no reality in the waking world for the waker, this concept of prārabdha, etc., has no reality for the jivan mukta. Why? Because just as dream state is lower to the waking state also is lower to that higher state of consciousness. Pratibhāsika dream level of reality, apparent reality. Vyavaharika satta, waking level of reality, transactional reality. Paramarthika satta, absolute reality. So just as for the Vyavaharika satta, whatever happened in Pratibhāsika satta is not real, in the same way, for the one who is in Paramarthika satta, whatever happens in Vyavaharika satta is not real. Therefore, to say that there is prārabdha for a jivan mukta, he says, is very funny and is not right. Careful. How you see how Shankaracharya is building the topic one by one. First he said, you see, technically prārabdha cannot end by knowledge. Yes, agreed. Technically prārabdha cannot end by knowledge. Why? Because it has already started. Something that already has started will end only by giving its result. Correct. Technically right. But you can't even say that there is prārabdha for jivan mukta. Why can't you say like that? Because it is as unreal as the world. Explained in the next verse. Let us see. Verse number 456. Nahi prabuddhaḥ pratibhāsadehe dehopayoginyapi ca prapañce karotyahantāṃ mamatānidantāṃ kintu svayaṃ tiṣṭhati jāgareṇa. Naihi prabuddhaḥ pratibhāsadehe dehopayoginyapi ca prapañce karotyahantāṃ mamatānidantāṃ kintu svayaṃ tiṣṭhati jāgareṇa. Prabuddhaḥ, one who has woken up, pratibhāsadehe, towards the body which was seen in the dream. Pratibhāsa means appearing. Towards the apparent dream body, upayogini api cha prapañce. And the world which is useful to that apparent body. What is that world? That dream world. The waker towards the dream body and dream world, ahantāṃ, mamatāṃ, idamtāṃ, na karoti. That na is there right at the beginning, you see. Nahi prabuddhaḥ. This is a Sanskrit way. To emphasize the point, it starts with na, but that na is to be joined with the verb at the end. What is saying? Nahi karoti. He never does. What does he not do? Ahantāṃ. Ahantāṃ, identification. Considering something to be me. Mamatāṃ. Mamatāṃ means myness. Considering something to be my. And then idantāṃ. Idam means thisness. Shankaracharya in these three words is explaining our entire life. What do we do in our life? This is me, this is mine, this is not mine. That is our entire life. And whole effort goes on, what is not mine, how will it become mine? Without much effort. That is very important. I should not put too many efforts. And then what is everybody's, how will it become mine? But what is mine should never become everybody's. That is what our whole life goes on in. But please remember, we do all these kind of things only towards objects of waking. We don't hold on to the objects of dream, do we? Some people are there, they will do that also. And they will say, Veji, you know what happened yesterday? I saw such a wonderful dream. Okay, what was the dream? In my dream I was married. In the waking also you are married. No. In the dream I was married to a celebrity. Okay, then what happened? Then I had children also. Okay, then what happened? Then the dream ended. I tell you, that is the best thing that has happened. Why? You have no idea what happens after that. You may be married to anybody. The life after that remains same. Isn't it? Why? Because the person may be great. We are not great. We will pull that person also down on our level only. Generally, we don't have such kind of feeling towards the dream objects. Or I had iPhone in my dream. I saw that there were packets of iPhone everywhere. Oh, very good. But it was in my dream. Now you can't say that these all iPhones are mine and you go in search of iPhones. Which iPhone? The iPhones that I saw in my dream. The moment we wake up, we realize that the dream body, the dream world, everything was not real. It was just a piece of imagination. And why? We don't even need to go to the dream. Even during waking, we keep on imagining things. Daydreaming. We call it daydreaming. Why? Because night dreaming is not sufficient. Therefore, during the day also we keep dreaming. How I wish it was like this, it was like that. But that whatever you are imagining is still an imagination. It has no value of reality. In the same way, Jivan Mukta doesn't feel this body, mind, intellect is me, or it is my, or the world is this, which we consider to be very real, this world, water, table, this, whatever we that kind of reality also is not given by the Jivan Mukta. You see what kind of state that Jivan Mukta will be. You can't even say it is a state, because state changes. You go from one state to another state, waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. State changes. It's not even a state. It is just that he doesn't even consider all these things. So just as a waker doesn't have any feeling of I-ness, my-ness or thisness towards the dream body and dream world, svayaṃ tiṣṭhati jāgareṇa, he just remains awakened. He doesn't have any kind of feeling for whatever happened in the dream. And luckily, you see, When we see a bad dream and we get up, we are very relieved. Thank you. I am okay. Why? Because I was falling from the mountain cliff. And before I struck the ground, I got up. Very good. Thank you. Thank God. Whether it is good situation or bad situation, whether it is favorable objects or non-favorable objects, whether it is nice people, the people that we like or the people that we don't like, whatever was there in the dream has no reality in the waking. In the same way, Jnani has no feeling of I-ness, my-ness or thisness towards the body, mind, intellect or towards the world. That kind of freedom we should have, I am telling you. That is something which is amazing. See, for a few moments of deep sleep that we forget about our body, mind, we are so happy. Every night we experience this. Few moments, and that time the time also is not there. Concept of time we don't have. Because mind is not there. And we feel so happy. We feel so happy in our deep sleep that we want to go back to that sleep. Many people during the class also want to go back. Why? Because suddenly everything is nice, no, calm and quiet, nobody is saying anything. Just you are there and just go, fall back. See, even if we are watching the movie that we most like or the cricket match that we love, but when that deep sleep comes, nothing comes in the way of me and my sleep, isn't it? Even if your most favorite person is with you, friend that you are meeting after so many years and therefore you have to tell so many things, but when the sleep comes, why? Because nothing can surpass that joy that we experience when all these identifications are, so to say, not there. They are there in the ignorant form, in the seed form, but we don't experience and we feel so happy. Now you imagine that kind of freedom when you are awake. Now you imagine that. That is what Jivan Mukta experiences. That's why Pujya Gurudev always used to say that this Jivan Mukta is in the world, but not of the world. That is how we should be. We also should be in the world, live whatever way we want and work whatever is required, but not of the world. Means what? Don't go up and down when the world goes up and down. So this prārabdha, though technically it cannot end, but for the Jivan Mukta it cannot survive. For the Jivan Mukta it is not there. Why? Because he is awakened to that higher state of consciousness, from which level there is nothing else. There are no body, mind, intellect, there are no upadhis, there are no objects of the world, there is no prārabdha, nothing is there in that state of consciousness. That's why in Bhagavad Gita also similar concept Bhagavan Shri Krishna explains in Sthita-prajña Lakshana, Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati saṃyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha paśyato muneḥ. Literal translation is very funny. What is night for everyone is day for him, and what is day for everyone is night for him. Now what is this day and night? Don't immediately see, we have this bad habit, no? We take everything very literally. Means what? That the Jivan Mukta will be awake in the night when we all are sleeping. And that is not the meaning. What Bhagavad Gita, what Sri Krishna is saying is, towards the world where we are fully awake, we are so much enthralled by this world and fascinated by the world and running behind it, towards that he is sleeping. Means he has no interest. And towards that Brahman where he is awake, we are sleeping. We have no interest. That is what it means. See, even for sadhaka this starts happening. When you start walking the spiritual path, the moment you get little time in the day, the moment you get one day in your week, the moment you get few days in a year, you want to go to a place which is calm and quiet and where you can have this kind of satsang, where you can listen to Vedanta, isn't it? And you see so many other people Materialistic, it is so fascinating that the moment they get little time, sometime they want to go and enjoy there. You want to come here and enjoy. You can say you are awakened to this towards which the world is sleeping, and they are awakened to that where you are sleeping, where you have no idea what is happening in the world. Imagine if it is true for sadhaka, how much more it will be true for Jivan Mukta. That is the point. And therefore, we cannot say that there is prārabdha for Jivan Mukta. Okay, further explained in the next verse. Let us see. Beautiful Shankaracharya says. 457. Na tasya mithyārthasamarthanecchā. Na saṃgrahastajjagato'pi dṛṣṭaḥ. tatrānuvṛttiryadi cenmṛṣārthe. Na nidrayā mukta itīṣyate dhruvam. Na tasya mithyārthasamarthanecchā. Na saṃgrahastajjagato'pi dṛṣṭaḥ. tatrānuvṛttiryadi cenmṛṣārthe. Na nidrayā mukta itīṣyate dhruvam. Tasya mithyārthasamarthanecchā na. Tha is coming, you see, alliteration. Mithyārthasamarthanecchā. What is he saying? Tasya, for him, there is no ichha, no desire for samarthana, for supporting mithyārtha, supporting the apparent objects, imaginary objects. Means what? He doesn't give reality to those objects. Which objects? The dream objects. Who doesn't give reality? The waker. Also, na saṃgrahastajjagato'pi dṛṣṭaḥ. And he does not put efforts that jagataḥ saṃgraha. Saṃgraha means collecting, holding on, hoarding on. He does not put efforts to hold on to things of that world. Na dṛṣṭaḥ, that is also not seen. So, for the waker, there is no desire for dream objects, and for the waker, you see no attempt at collecting things of dream. tatrānuvṛttiryadi chet. Yadi chet, if tatrānuvṛttiryadi, in those apparent objects, anuvrittihi, there is a following, the maintenance is following. Means what? If he is collecting nidrayā na mukta, then please understand that he is still dreaming. He is not woken up. If he is putting efforts to hold on to dream objects, if he is putting, he is having desires for dream objects, then please understand that he is still dreaming. Itīṣyate dhruvam. This is certain. For sure, if he has desire for dream objects and if he is putting efforts to maintain the dream world, then he is still dreaming. In the same way, if there is a person who has woken up to the state of consciousness, he will have no desire for the materialistic world, nor will he put any efforts to hold on to this materialistic world. And if you see him putting efforts, if he is putting efforts, then please understand that he has not reached the state of consciousness. Okay, this is as simple. Now, with example he has explained. Now he explains the point. What is the point? Let us see. 458. Tadvat pare brahmani vartamanaha. Sadatmana tiṣṭhati nānyadīkṣate. स्मृतिर्यथा स्वप्नविलोकितार्थे तथा विदः प्राशनमोचनादौ तद्वत् टुगेदर तद्वत् परे ब्रह्मणि वर्तमानः सदात्मना तिष्ठति नान्यदीक्षते स्मृतिर्यथा स्वप्नविलोकितार्थे तथा विदः प्राशनमोचनादौ. How beautifully he is expanding the example even further. What he says, tadvat, in the same way, pare brahmani vartamanaha, one who is ever present in that supreme Brahman, pare brahmani vartamana, who is remaining there, sadatmana tiṣṭhati, he remains ever sada atmana, as that pure self. Na anyatīṣyate, and therefore never perceives anything else. It's very difficult to explain this state of Jivan Mukti. See, we have earlier also seen this point that Brahma Sakshatkara, when it happens, what is the knowledge, that realization that takes place? It is not that I am Brahman. Is that everything is Brahman. Sarvam khalu idam Brahma. Now you imagine when everything is Brahman, when everything is seen as Brahman, experienced as Brahman, the distinction is not there. When the distinction is not there, how will I see things happening in the world as different from me? Just for the sake of understanding, you think, okay? Suppose we are this much, no? Our body is this much, and therefore in the room we are little and the room is little bigger, and therefore there are many things in the room. Yeah, correct? Can you see that different things in the room? Now imagine your body expands and fills the entire room, where all the objects that are there in the room become part of you. Imagine you yourself becoming so fat and touching all the walls, every single corner of the room you are pervading. So physically I am telling, for the sake of imagination. Now all the objects have become one with you. Will you see the difference? Will you see anything happening in the room? No. Something like this happens with that person who realizes Brahman alone everywhere. Now don't imagine that physically he becomes everything. No. He will explode. That is not happening physically. But imagine that experience where he sees the self alone. He sees that Brahman alone. Nothing else he perceives. Now for such a person, how will you say there is prārabdha? What is prārabdha? There is no body, mind, intellect. There is no world. How prārabdha will be there for such a person? Then Vedji, what is prārabdha? Smritir yatha swapna vilokita arthe. Yatha, just as swapna vilokita arthe, in the objects vilokita, seen, swapna, in the dream, smritihi. Just as after you wake up, you have some kind of faint memory of the dream objects. Sometimes. It's not that every dream we remember. Sometimes we have memory of the dream objects. Tatha, in the same way, vidaha, for the Jivan Mukta, prashana mochanadau. He has got such a faint memory for the actions that are happening in the waking. Which actions? Those actions which are very important for us. Already the planning has started what we should cook for dinner. And I am going to eat this. Prashana means eating. Mochana means throwing out. See, these normal actions of all of us human beings, towards which we have so much of, focus. How is this Jivan Mukta? Swapna vilokitarthe smritihi yatha. He has got a faint memory of all these things. Means what? How to explain these points? See, sometimes even for seekers it happens like this. When we go to a place which is so spiritually fulfilling for us, and we are attending a camp, and we are so engrossed in that atmosphere and attending classes, etc., we don't remember what we ate in the morning for breakfast and lunch, etc., isn't it? No, veggie. I remember. That is because you come for 1 week or so, 7 days. Suddenly Kerala food, different kind of food is there. Therefore you enjoy, and therefore you remember, today this was there, today. See, when you get used to remaining in such environment, I remember when I was in Sandipani studying, we used to literally forget what we ate in the afternoon. What sabji was there, what was there for breakfast, we used to forget. Why? There is no focus towards all those things. You just finish your class, go there because body should be fed. So you go there, you take whatever is there, you finish, you wait for Mangalam. The moment Mangalam is over, you wash the plate, go to room, study. I remember my mother visited the ashram once for something, and she asked me, what did you eat? And I kept on thinking, and she said, did you eat? I said, wait, that also I have to think. I should have eaten because of the habit. I must have gone to Annakshetra. So I must have eaten, but what I ate, I don't know. Now you imagine if it happens with us seekers, what that Jivan Mukta must be feeling. We are so much fascinated by Vedanta, and it all happens. He is realized, he is experiencing that Brahman. What must be his unawareness of the world, you see. Totally unaware he will be towards the world. Now, if that is the situation, what prārabdha is going to be there for such a person? These 4 verses are actually explaining the view of Jivan Mukta towards the world. So far, we were seeing the view of Jivan Mukta, means view of the world towards Jivan Mukta, we were seeing. How the world looks at Jivan Mukta. Now in last 4 verses, we have seen how the Jivan Mukta looks at world. See how Shankaracharya has explained this? That he looks at it as though something is happening in the dream. Like that he looks at it. He doesn't have I-ness, my-ness, thisness towards anything. He doesn't have desire for anything, nor will he put any efforts to hold on to anything. Right? And now he says he looks at he goes through the world as though it is some kind of faint memory. He doesn't even remember what has happened. That is what happens with Jivan Mukta. Now for such a person, how can you say prārabdha is there? No, Vedji. See, you may say whatever you want to say, but technically, prārabdha has already started giving its result. Shankaracharya has said that it will not end by knowledge. He gave example also, arrow is shot. Once the arrow is shot, even if you gain the knowledge, arrow will not stop. So arrow will hit the target. Okay, so prārabdha will give result and then only it will end. Yes or no? You said. Yes, my dear, I said like this because Shankaracharya said like this. But please remember, Shankaracharya also said that there is no prārabdha for Jivan Mukta. He agreed that prārabdha will end only by experience. But for Jivan Mukta, there is no prārabdha. Now you are confusing me. What is this? Now you tell one thing. Is prārabdha there or not there? You always do such thing. In Vedanta, that's why I don't like Vedanta. You people speak of one thing and then you speak of second thing and you say both are right. How both these things are right? You say world is not real, right. World is real, Brahman, right. How both things? It is only matter of standpoints, Baba. From the standpoint of the world is not real. But from the standpoint of Brahman, it is real only. Everything is Brahman only. Similarly, from the standpoint of the world, prārabdha is there. But from the standpoint of that Jivan Mukta, there is no prārabdha. There is no prārabdha. Now, you are asking me technical question. No, I will give you technical answer. I means not me. Shankaracharya is giving technical answers. What is he saying? 459. Karmana nirmito deha prārabdham tasya kalpyatāṃ nānādērātmano yuktam naivātmā karma nirmitah karmana nirmito deha prārabdham tasya kalpyatāṃ nānādērātmano yuktam naivātmā karma nirmitah. Shankaracharya says, you see, my dear, deha karmana nirmitah. The body is made up of karma. Absolutely right. Why? Because we saw sthula sharira is created from the 5 elements and it is fashioned by karma. Correct? So all our bodies are made up of same 5 elements, but your body is different from my body because of my prārabdha karma and your prārabdha karma. Correct. Mind and intellect is also made up of tanmatras but fashioned by karma. So here deha has to be taken as upadhi. The sthula and sukshma upadhi, the gross and subtle upadhi is created by karma. Karmana nirmitah deha. And therefore, prārabdham tasya kalpyatāṃ. Therefore, prārabdha is applicable to the body. To the body means to the body, mind, intellect. Na anadehe atmanah yuktam. But this concept of prārabdha, you cannot put it for anadi atma, beginningless self. Why? Because self, na atma karma nirmitah eva. Don't you understand that the self is not created by karma? The body, mind, intellect are created by karma. Prārabdha karma is the nimitta karana for the body, mind, intellect. Correct. And therefore, body, mind, intellect will have prārabdha. But the self is not created by prārabdha. And therefore, there is no prārabdha for the self. How do you know? Next verse, he gives Shruti quotation. You see, I am not just telling anything from my own. I am telling you what is this. Ajo nitya shashvata iti brute shrutiramo tadatmana tiṣṭhato'sya kutaf prārabdha kalpana ajo nitya shashvata iti brute shrutiramo tadatmana tiṣṭhato'sya kutaf prārabdha kalpana. Ajo nityah shashvatah iti shruti brute. Shruti brute. Shruti says what? That the self atma is ajah, unborn, nityah, eternal, shashvatah, permanent. This is famous quote. Ajo nityah shashvatoyam puranah na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Also comes in Gita. But Shruti brute is said. So the quotation is from Kathopanishad. It is also there in Gita, but it is there before that also in Kathopanishad. Na jāyate mriyate va vipaśchit nāyam kutaśchinna babhuva kaśchit ajo nitya shashvatoyam puranah na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Kathopanishad. Gita na jāyate mriyate va kadāchit nāyam bhūtva bhavita va na bhūyah. Little difference is there in the words, but the meaning is same. What does it say? Ajah, nityah, shashvatah ayam. This self is unborn, eternal, permanent, puranah, ever new. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. It is not killed even when the body is killed. Means what? It remains untouched by body, mind, intellect. This is what Shruti brute amoghavak. Shruti is Veda, no? Is given one adjective here. Amogha vak, whose declaration, speech is infallible. Amogha. Amogha means it will never go wrong. It will never lose its power. This Amogha word is very beautiful in Sanskrit. Amogha. In Ramayana it is explained, Hanumanji flew from that mountain to the Lanka, no? Flew to search for Sitaji. Yeah, isn't it? He flew from there. They say he flew like infallible arrow of Sri Rama. Imagine that Bhagavan Sri Rama has, shot one arrow. How it will, go straight and go to the target, and like that he flew. There are so many obstacles that came in his path. We see it in Ramayana, isn't it? In both Valmiki Ramayana as well as Tulsi Ramayana we have. So many that Mainaka Parvata came, and then that Surasa came, and then that Simhini came. So many, distractions also, some people to help also. He said, nothing doing. I am here on a mission. So he just straight went there, saw Sitaji, met Sitaji, gave his message. After he finished his job, then he asked, according to his monkey nature, Mother, can I go and eat something? I have not eaten for a long time, but I had work to do, therefore I straight away came. That is called Amogha. Amogha means that which will never fail. Amogha. In Narad Bhakti Sutra, one sutra is there which says, Satsangaha, Turlabha, Agamaha, Amoghasya. When you are in Satsanga, it is rare, yes, because it is not easy to be in Satsanga. Agamaha, difficult to understand also. We don't realize all the time the beauty and importance of it. But it is Amogha, infallible. Means what? That will create an impact in your life, whether you realize it or not. Gurudev remembers that he was traveling in a train, and the train stopped because there was something, and he just got down. There was no station. He just got down and walked, and there was an ashram. He was young at that time, no interest in spirituality, no interest in any religious activity, nothing he had at that time. Very young and dynamic, person at that time, and he just walked into an ashram, and he went into, and there was one room, and there was one Mahatma sitting, people were sitting. He just went there and kept on looking at this Mahatma. The Mahatma kept on looking at him. That's it. Later on, he recollects that was Raman Maharshi that he met. He didn't know who is Raman Maharshi. He realized later on, after reading all these books, oh, what a great Mahatma I met. But you see, at that time, he didn't even know that I am in a great company or anything. But he says that one experience of silence that I experienced in that presence of that Mahatma, I remembered it when I was in Gangotri and when I was doing my sadhana. Imagine Amogha. It will never fail. It will never fail. Point is what? Amogha vak shrutihi brute. This infallible declaration of the Shruti says very clearly that the self is unborn, eternal and shashvata, permanent. Therefore, tad atmana tiṣṭhato'sya. Now one who is living, he is staying as this self. Kutah prārabdha kalpana. Where is the concept of prārabdha now for this person? He is self only. He is Sakshat Brahma. Where is the concept of prārabdha for such a person? Okay. I am tempted to go further, but sufficient for today. Two more verses he is going to extend. First he will say, you see, I already explained to you that prārabdha only applies to body, mind, intellect. Now, why we feel that we have prārabdha? Because we are identified with body, mind, intellect. Why the Jivan Mukta doesn't feel prārabdha? Because he is not identified with prārabdha, with body, mind, intellect. And therefore, Jivan Mukta has no prārabdha. Then he will go one step further and say, actually there is nothing called as prārabdha. What? Means, from the absolute standpoint, prārabdha also is not there. Even for the body, it is not there. Go. Unnecessarily you are eating my head. Jivan Mukta will have prārabdha. There is no prārabdha for body also. Go. That is what he is going to do in the next 2 verses. We will see in the next sessions. Alright. Sure. Shall we conclude? Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.